Hello and welcome. I am that rugby girl. I am an Irish rugby fanatic and sports journalist, and I just thought I'd jump on and start my channel off with a quick overview of Andy Farrell's 35-man Ireland squad for the upcoming autumn internationals. So starting off with the forwards, there's 19 forwards. Starting off with Ryan Baird, Finlay Bealham, Tadhg Byrne, Caelan Doris, who is the captain, Tadhg Furlong, Cian Healy, Dave Heffernan, Ian Henderson, Rob Herring, Cormac Isajuku, Ronan Kelleher, Joe McCarthy, Peter O'Matney, Tom O'Toole, Andrew Porter, Cian Prendergast, James Ryan, Nick Timoney, and Josh Van der Fleer. And then in the backs, we have Bundy Aki, Craig Casey, Jack Crowley, Kieran Frawley, Jemison Gibson Park, Matt Hansen, Robbie Henshaw, Hugo Keenan, James Lowe, Stuart McCloskey, Conor Murray, Calvin Nash, Jamie Osborne, Sam Prendergast, Gary Ringrose, and Jacob Stockdale. Of the squad, 17 players are from Leinster, 7 are from Ulster, 6 from Munster, and 5 from Connacht. Also, Andy Farrell named 5 training panelists. So they're 5 additional squad members who are there to get exposure and experience within the Ireland camp. And that includes Thomas Clarkson from Leinster, Alex Condenan from Munster, Shane Bolton from Connacht, Jack Boy from Leinster, and Gus McCarthy from Leinster. Gus in particular has had a really good season so far from Leinster in the appearances that he's made. He's had 3 clean breaks for Leinster and 2 turnovers so far this season in the URC. Last time we seen Ireland in action was in the summer tour to South Africa. They lost the first match and then they won the second match with the dramatic, beautiful Kieran Frawley drop goal, which had everyone on the edge of their seat. So this is their first time together since that. Some people have come into the squad. So Dave Heffernan has joined. Ian Henderson is back after he was out injured for the South African tests. Jemison Gibson Park, he's also back from injury. Matt Hansen, again, back from injury. And then Hugo Keenan, who was off with the Ireland Sevens during the Olympics. A couple of people have left the squad or have been left out when they would have been included in the South African tests. And that's Ollie Jaeger. He's currently injured. Dan Sheehan, again, is injured. And Jimmy O'Brien's injured. Jordan Larmour, according to Leinster this week, he's still being assessed by them. So he could feature maybe at the weekend, but there hasn't been any updates on that particular injury other than he's still being watched by and monitored by Leinster. There's a couple of maybe absentees where I think some fans may feel some of these players kind of missed out on some spots. One of them being Ben Murphy. I think he's really been one of the standout players so far from the provinces. He's played 5 from 5 for Connacht in the URC. He has 4 tries to his name, and he's already, I think, become a fan favourite for Connacht fans and maybe some fans begrudgingly from the other provinces. I think he's done really well, and he hasn't been named in the squad, unfortunately. Mike Haley as well from Munster. He's gone quite well in this season, even though Munster have kind of had a bit of a dip in form. He has 3 tries to his name in the URC. Then there's Max Deegan from Leinster. I've seen his name mentioned in some people's posts of who they thought should have been included. He has 6 carries in the URC so far. He has 2 tries and 6 line-out steals. And then Gavin Coombs, has 4 tries. He's joint. He's one of the joint top try scorers with Ben Murphy on 4. And he also has 24 carries so far in the URC. A couple of other notable things from the announcement. Obviously, Peter O'Matney was the captain for the 2024 Six Nations and also the Summer Tour to South Africa. However, he hasn't retained the captaincy and it's gone to Caelan Doris. Personally, I love Peter O'Matney, but I also am a Leinster and weirdly a Mayo fan. Probably there's very few of us in the country at the moment. So I'm happy to see a good Leinster and Mayo man become captain of Ireland. But it seems that Peter Manley is carrying an injury. He's obviously been missing from Munster since the 8th of October. He went off against Ospreys injured. He missed the big match against Leinster in Croke Park, and he also missed the mini tour to South Africa for Munster. But the RFU said that he will continue his rehabilitation with Munster next week as he builds towards a return to action over the coming weeks. So it's looking likely that he won't go with the Ireland squad to the warm weather camp in Portugal next week. But he could feature later in the series, hopefully. Another interesting inclusion is Cian Healy. He's currently on 131 caps for Ireland. The current top caps holder is none other than Brian O'Driscoll on 133. So if Cian Healy gets some game time in the autumn internationals, he could leapfrog Brian O'Driscoll as Ireland's top caps holder. Another interesting inclusion is Kieran Frawley. He went off injured during Leinster's game against Connacht at the weekend, and initially it looked quite a worrying injury. However, on Monday in the press conference, Jack Niember, he seemed pretty positive in the prognosis. He seemed to think that he will be potentially okay for international duty. So it looks good for him given that he's been featured in the squad. Personally, I really want to see him get some game time potentially at 10 for Ireland. I think he's gone really well at 10 for Leinster. I think in particularly in the Croke Park game against Munster, I think he just adds a little extra something, and I'd love to see him get maybe a bit more time. Obviously, I think Jack Crowley's still the number one, but it'd be nice to have a little battle between them two at out half. And then the fixtures list. So there's 4 games, so it's a really packed November. Usually there's maybe 3, sometimes 4 if they have like the special games in America or whatever like that. But we're having 4. There's 2 Friday games, which I find a bit weird. I don't know. Especially given the time, like it's an 8:10 kickoff. Even in Dublin, I think finishing work for a lot of people it would be cutting it fine to get over to the Viva, but it's going to be sold out, and I think every single bum that can be will be on seats. So the first game is on Friday, November 8th, and it's Ireland versus New Zealand at 8:10 p.m. and I think that's a really good one to kick off the series with, because obviously there's the huge rivalry that's already there between Ireland and New Zealand, but the last time that they faced off was in that heartbreaking, still not over, World Cup defeat. And since then, particularly in the last maybe month or so, there's been a lot of talk about potentially things were said at full time that maybe shouldn't have been said, allegedly. So I think there's going to be a bit of spice, extra spice, and a bit of more extra fire there between the two sides. But I'm really looking forward to that. I've seen Ireland beat New Zealand in Dublin twice, and I've never forget the atmosphere. It's just incredible. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the second game is Ireland versus Argentina. Again, it's Friday, the November 15th, at Aviva Stadium at 8:10 p.m. And then the next week, it's a Saturday kickoff, November 23rd, Ireland versus Fiji at Aviva Stadium at 3:10 p.m. So it's an afternoon kickoff. And then the final game is Saturday, November 30th, Ireland versus Australia at 3:10 p.m., which I think is going to be another interesting clash between the master and the pupil, shall we say, in Joe Schmidt and Andy Farrell. Again, Andy Farrell's side was kind of undone, maybe by some Joe Schmidt intelligence during the World Cup when he was with New Zealand, but now he's with Australia. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Obviously, the last couple of times that Australia have been here, we've beat them. So it'll be interesting to see how they'll come up against Ireland with a Joe Schmidt um, led team. Other than that, I'm really excited for these four matches. It's one of my favorite times of year to watch rugby. One of my first ever rugby matches was against Argentina in the autumn internationals in the snow in Viva Stadium. So I have really good memories. Also, it'd be one of the last few times that we'll get Andy Farrell for a while because he's going off on his lines sabbatical. So that's going to be really interesting. And I think a lot of players will have that in the back of their mind that this could be an early chance to get their foot in the door for the Lions tour to Australia next year. And that, oh, can't wait for that. I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope to be back with some updates on the Ireland Autumn Internationals and some regular Leinster videos when the URC and Champions Cup returns. Just one last thing, if you could please, please, please give this video a like and subscribe, that would be great. Thank you so much, and bye now.